Greetings, Jedi traders. David here of TradingFibs.com to bring you the daily trend for May 23rd, 2016. We are into week 21. As always, please seek financial advisement when trading with your money, as these videos are for educational purposes only. Support your knowledge in the market. See what's going through my head on any given day. Always make sure you have a solid trading plan and always manage your stop when placing a trade. Well, traders, that about sums up today's picture there, posted on Twitter there. Boy, it was a snoozer. Econ data a little bit light today. Couple Fed speakers, PMI coming out, meeting expectations. So didn't get very far today. We'll take a look at the charts here in a little bit on the indices and the crude totaling 8 setups today. Very small scalp entries. Never really got a great runner until the very end is actually where we doubled all the ticks for the entire session, almost sitting at about 60 ticks for today on 3 markets. One small loss there is everything looked great. It turned around, decided to just flatten it for just a couple ticks lost. Not too bad. All right, let's take a look at the trend of the session. Look at that overnight session. That is what I am talking about. Not necessarily all the charts in sync, but nice runners. Buy signal up here pre-market. Actually, that was the middle of the night there. That was overnight session Asian market there before. A couple charts in sync puts you to the upside. Sell signal back to the downside with 3 charts. But that's not the way the regular trading hours. There's the first minutes of U.S. regular trading hours. You can already see we were chomping at the bit. So looked exactly on all 3 indices there, as that was really the trend of the session. When we talk about chop and then finally price action gave way, it was all about a lot of patience, just waiting for the best of setups. Sell signal again, 3 charts in the red. Price action was already underneath the 51.44 on the NQ, so had a nice run on the NQ downside. Got a piece on the YM and a piece on the S. There it is. There's the trade right there. Again, you can see the delayed entry. Didn't take it all the way up here. Wait for 4 charts. A little bit late entry. Sat in it. Never stopped out, and then all the way down. Actually, price action ended up coming up just a little bit. That was at the top of the hour. 15 more minutes, and actually ran down a little bit more in trend. All right, let's take a look at the 5-minute charts. Price action on the 5-minute chart. You can see the range bound here, 25-minute open range highlighted by the area in the greens here. This is the crude here in the upper left-hand corner. Price action again didn't stay much in that 25-minute open range. There was a nice breakout upside to the 1-hour open range high. Came back, tapped that 25-minute high, and back upside. Take a look at the ES again. Pretty much for the whole session we saw in those first range-bound charts, it was all inside. Range just chopping at that 25-minute open range, and then finally that down move right there at the end. You can see on all 3 of the indices, from the 1-hour open range high all the way down to the 25-minute open range high, and pretty much you can see slightly under the daily gap, today's open, and ES under today's open. Let's take a look at the AD line, advancers, decliners. As we can see, price action, it was to the downside. So again, first couple minutes of trading, price action was upside, and you got an AD line coming downside. So we were kind of a little bit divergent there, but eventually you could see majority masking today's index price action. You could see the AD line trying to make an attempt to lift here, unable to break above the 10 EMA, so gave that one of those moves downside. We'll take a look here on the indices. You'll see how this played out. Again, nice little lift. Eventually had some charts in sync to the upside, and then there was that last minute move, really, for the most part, averaging around the 0 today. All right, let's jump into the daily trend here. As we can see, price action on the daily trends. Let's start with let's jump over to the crude first. Crude, again, we talked about price action to the downside at first on the crude, and then it was a nice little move to the upside as it broke out of the 25-minute open range above the T3 moving averages up here. Little resistance here at the 50 EMA, but strategy is looking for the most amount of charts in sync, and we really didn't find anything on the crude today until maybe the afternoon session. So crude pretty much a wipe today as we lead into the EIA report on Wednesday, but Probably see some maybe some pre-release econ action tomorrow. Here we go, price action, early session there to the upside on the crude, breaking out of the range. So 50 above 144. There's your 50 144. So again, if you don't have the crossover yet, all right, so here you got a buy signal here almost at 10 o'clock, which price action here is now pushing above that 50 144. That's okay. You don't have to always wait for the chart to change color. Changing color is just an indicator that the market's crossed over. But again, crude to the upside, but again, lots of chop sideways, and you can see the 50 144 bringing it in and bringing in the two moving averages tight, so a lot of consolidation here. Taking a look at the YM again. YM we saw on the ES there at the beginning, but again, look at that pre-market overnight session. Nice smooth action, but again, you can see not all the charts in sync. As soon as they came in sync, it was back to the upside. So here's U.S. regular trading hours again. For the most part, it wasn't easy. You were just waiting for a small pocket of opportunity. We looked on the AD line. There was that upside move on the AD line. Again, you go back to the AD line. We're talking about this move to the upside. So if the AD line is moving upside, well, there it was in sync with the price action on the charts here on the range chart. So 50 above 144 down below here, 50 above 144. Again, that was back here around 10 o'clock, and then price action pushes up. So nice move on the upside. As again, we held pretty much to the ranges, 25-minute open ranges today. There it is, a couple of pockets opportunity, not many runners here. So again, you either were stopped out or price action. You went in and out knowing that we were pretty much range bound. You go for 5, 6, maybe 10 ticks and you get out. Always keeping your stop at the lowest. The furthest away is the swing size, and that would always have kept you in the trade. So not bad. Not bad. All right, taking a look at the NQ. NQ again, just as choppy. There was that move from the get-go. Trend number one of the day actually was the NQ moving, and the YM and ES were barely moving. So NQ with a nice first move here. Trend number one. Another early re-entry right back here. Put you in trend number two. You can see price action on the 50 144 for the most part was in the green, and then a little bit of failure here. We got two charts in the red. Price action coming down. There was the better opportunity with three charts in the red. Here at about 11:34, that was euro close, which you saw price action here. Now coming down underneath the 50 144, so that made for a nice entry downside. Pretty much chopped the rest of the day. That's that that wonderful picture there we had of everybody sleeping, trying to hold on to that. That's almost 3 hours of trading right there. And then there it was, breakdown right from the high, not from the high, but from the chop within the range, and bang, right to the downside. That's bond market close, guys. As soon as the bond market closes, that just came down. All right, taking a look at the ES again. Same picture today, guys. Up and down, up and down, up and down. A couple of pockets of 3 to 4 charts in sync. Together with the 5144 was really all over the place, so not very much a trending day. But again, very small pockets. Hey, if you can add them up and then at the very end, you wait 7 hours and you got yourself an entry, it paid off. All right, let's take a look at fib projection levels for today. Did we get any? And, oh, just couple ticks shy of the YM right there, upside 17,527. Again, the midnight open was really also a line in the sand. 43.7275 here was the midnight open on the NQ. Again, 43.7275, so right there, not really able to break upside. 17,512 here on the NQ, YM there, so just pushing up above, and then the ES 20.5275, so barely able to get above those midnight opens. YM only one almost successful at tapping the Fibonacci target high. Taking a look at the daily gaps, anything to be concerned about? Well, ES still has this open gap down here, 2039.75, so that will be the first one. Nothing to speak about on the YM or NQ, just holding at these fib levels, 38%, 23%. Crude, as it makes its way down here, we have a open gap here at 46.43, fib extension kind of holding out here. We do have a fib extension upside around the 55s, which is in sync with some of our key moving averages. Again, 48.38, former recent highs before price action actually came back. You know the big picture on the crude. We do have some open gaps all the way downside that will eventually get closed. The first one down here at 40.24. Taking a look at the volume profile, price action on the indices and crude. We do have 17,630 up here on the YM, so kind of honing in on that 600-day VPOC. You could just see the consolidation here of the ES as price action sitting sideways with a fib projection up here at 2074.50. Good distribution today. And NQ with a 600-day VPOC down here at 42.90, as well as crude downside at 45.70. All right, so that's today's daily trend as far as price action is concerned. Always looking for an opportunity. Looking ahead here, taking a look at the crude as we found support here at the 50 EMA. Again, it's not my purpose to tell you which way we're going tomorrow. You got to watch the charts intraday. But here we see the crude holding up at the 50 EMA. We're still in an upwards trend. T3 moving averages, though, coming downside. So again, if we lose the support here at the 50 EMA, all I do is I look for my intraday setups to say, all right, I got a 50 EMA coming up. I have a 144 EMA. There might be support there. I'm watching the candles. I'm watching them in momentum. And if I decide to come out, it's because most likely it's hit that level. Take a look here at the fib extension that we saw in the daily gap charts. There's that line next Fibonacci upside, 55.75, as well as to keep an eye. Hey, we break the 50 EMA. You have a 144 here at 45.97. You have a 50 and a 200 at 42.27. And then you will go back to your daily gaps and say, where's my open gap, which is down at 40.24. And keep in mind your Fibonacci level. So at the end of the day, there's just a bunch of levels and a bunch of lines, and whose line is right? Well, it doesn't matter. It's just a matter of knowing that there might be something there of interest. It's only about momentum for me. All right, let's take a look at the three other indices as they are all holding under daily moving averages. Again, the NQ 5200 downside, volume subpar today under a 60-day average. Again, the ES unable to break that 50 MA and the YM. Love that 4-hour chart as price action again. Resistance continues at the 144 EMA. We'll watch the overnight action. Make sure you watch my morning post as I go ahead and take another snapshot of the overnight action, see where we're at. Watch the 50 EMA. If we break the 50 EMA on the NQ, then you jump to the daily gaps and you go to your NQ and say, all right, do I have any daily gaps downside? Do I have any Fibonacci levels here on the NQ downside? Well, I got a 38% that's held the line. Well, maybe I'll go into the 50% and I'll watch that. All right, and then taking a look at the ES, we're back downside after rejecting the 144 EMA as well as the 4-hour YM, rejecting at the 50 EMA. Don't rule out, also, don't forget, looking at the volume profile, watching where are those VPOCs, that might be a magnet at the end. So again, you can throw in lines at every single part of the chart, but again, at the end of the day, it's about finding a move, which looked a lot better on the overnight market. As you can see, price action here. Take a look for moves like this, which we do usually find pockets, but there's a rarity that sometimes we get days like this where we just have to get in and get out a little bit sooner. All right, what do we got coming up? Econ data wise, again, big picture, guys, as we move beyond this week, is that we're getting into contract rollover. We're getting into next FOMC, which again, all econ action probably basically in reaction to people, what their investors, traders thinking what the market's going to do in June's Fed meeting. We have GDP this Friday. So a whole host, and always watch out for those Fed speakers as they get on their podium and everybody's trying to look for a word. Don't forget, we have crude report on Wednesday, so that should move the crude in either direction. That's it. That concludes the insight of the daily trend and crude. Feel free to stop by at tradingfibs.com or any of my social media outlets to obtain more information. My trading mantra, one simple strategy: any market, any chart, any time frame will keep you disciplined. You can find me every day on Twitter at TradingFibs. As always, I leave the crystal ball to the experts. I only trade what's in front of me and on my charts. And as always, I leave my bias at the door when trading. Hey guys, this is the last week, week 21. I did not do a futures ETF market cap leaders this week. Make sure you check that out weekly though. That's where I usually do a little synopsis of the market, including a weekly supplemental. I'm going to be holding off of that for a couple weeks as Trading Fibs LLC will be moving out of state. So big move, couple weeks here, get resituated back up in the Pacific Northwest. So looking forward to that new move, and so we'll be back online with all that. So 1 week left here in the hot desert and moving forward. So have yourselves a Blue Zone day, good night, and good trading.